the season, tough early going, improved throughout the summer, yet disappointing ending?
I mean, we didn't finish the way we wanted, so that's not great. But we'll sit down and reflect how the season went. We'll talk about it in the upcoming days, but as an organization, compared to other years, I think we took a step forward in certain areas. Like I always said, we're not a perfect team. We are a good team that needs to keep improving. And, let's see what the offseason brings. But I truly believe we're going to keep getting better.
Well, there you go. That's Alex Cora's, can I call it, conclusion on the 2025 Red Sox season, which ended last night in New York with a 4-0 defeat to the New York Yankees. And Cam Schlittler.
Better watch out there,
carefully.
Maz. That is an FCC violation waiting to happen.
Cam Schlittler and the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium. Red Sox lose the wild card series 2-1. That's it. They're out. It's over, and this is where we begin tonight on the Baseball Hour. Because two rules on this show. One, we broadcast as long as the Red Sox are playing games and as long as their season is ongoing. If they end in September, we end in September. If they end on October 3rd, we end on October 3rd. If they end on November 1st, we go all the way through and finish on November 1st. Given that they got defeated last night, this is it for us. There will obviously be sporadic podcast updates during the course of the season, or off-season rather, and you will certainly hear us talk Red Sox when necessary on Felger and Maz and all the other programming here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. That's number one. Rule number two, and this is more of a Maz personal rule, but I generally defer or deter speaking both. Speaking on next year while the Red Sox are in the playoffs and more big picture things, because frankly, the games are important enough. We don't get a chance to talk about individual baseball games all that frequently during the regular season, because while there are those games along the way that are captivating and compelling, there aren't many, and it's usually a big picture sport. So games aren't played with the same level of urgency in May and June as they are September and October. So we go back to that comment by Cora. In a lot of ways, Jimmy, can we pick that up in the middle again? In a lot of ways, we improved in areas, or how did Cora say that exactly? If we could just, I'm putting you on the spot here, Stu.
We'll sit down and reflect how the season went. We'll talk about it in the upcoming days, but as an organization, compared to other years, I think we took a step forward in certain areas.
We can stop there. Perfect. We took a step forward in certain areas. This is my question to those of you out there tonight. This is my question to Tyler Milliken and Matt McCarthy, who are with us on this final Friday of the Baseball Hour. Do you feel like the Red Sox are going in the right direction? Do you feel like they're going in the right direction?
I do. I think when you look at what they've been able to do pitching-wise, something they really probably haven't been able to do in 20-plus years at this point in time. The emergence of a pipeline that was able to sustain a rotation that had injuries to Cutter Crawford and Tanner Houck. If I told you Tanner Houck, who was your ace a year ago, was going to give you essentially nothing this year, you would have told me, I don't know how that rotation is going to get by in a lot of ways. Instead, not only did you have Brian Bayo break out, you had a team, a pitching staff that had the second best ERA in all of baseball from June 8th on, all the way through the rest of the year, that essentially aligned perfectly with when your season took off and everything went right. So I think when you're talking about the best teams in this sport and what drives them, pitching is underneath it. Pitching is what allows you to survive all these different injuries and all these kind of things that go wrong. So to have a combination of that and Alex Cora, so many times over the last 2 months, has gone and said, everybody wanted to talk about our prospects on the hitting side, the position side. He couldn't stop saying, look at what we had in terms of pitching. Hunter Dobbins, who you lost early in the year, looked like a real back-end rotation arm. Like these guys that kind of emerged and showed you that, yeah, we can get down to our 12th, 13th, 14th starting pitching option, and we're going to survive. Alex Cora was traumatized, I think, by the Kyle Bearclaw moments and stuff like that sunk the team in August when they would just consistently run out of arms. They didn't even get anything at the deadline to support them in terms of arms, and still this system was able to keep their head above water, and there's more coming when you look at someone like Luis Perales, who might be more talented than a Peyton Tolley or a Connolly early in. I think a combination of that, the fact that they went over the luxury tax again for the first time since 2022, showing that the owner cared to invest and put that kind of time in. And then when you have your next franchise superstar and Roman Anthony show up and look like a top 15 player in the sport, I think all those things come together and you make the playoffs again. And Alex Cora, the way he talked about Craig Breslow in the front office, how impressed he was, man, it's very refreshing because you never heard anything close to that during the Heimblum era.
Yeah, so I think the Red Sox met expectations this year. We expected them to be in the playoffs, and therefore, I think ultimately, if we're deciding whether this season was a success or a failure, this season was a success. Not a capital S success, but a success. And for, a lot of the reasons that Milliken just laid out. I mean, I think you should be encouraged by some of the building blocks they have here. Crochet, Anthony, and pitching depth. I certainly feel better about the Red Sox exiting 2025 than I did exiting 2024. So they took a step in the right direction. That being said, they did not overachieve or underachieved. I think they met expectations. And the way they ultimately went out, even though the season I think was again, small S success, the way they went out in this series was a failure. Bad fundamental baseball, holes on the roster showing up. They should have won this series. They did not win this series. You should be frustrated about that. I am frustrated about that. But overall, I feel good about the season, and I feel good moving forward.
Okay, so let me just add this quickly. I already see a bunch of people lined up, and I'd love to take as many calls as possible tonight. I stress to you again, this is the final baseball hour until next spring. We'll probably be back on the air at the end of March. But I won't, and I'll do some podcasts during the off season, but there will be no back and forth with any of the callers before next spring. So if you have something on your mind, tonight's the night to get it in. Certainly you can call Felger and Maz, the other shows, the midday shows, Olak and Bertrand, the morning show, Toucher and Hardy, as well as Joe Murray at night. I don't need to go over the whole schedule here with you at this moment, but you get the idea. Baseball will continue to be talked on this station, but for this show's purposes, tonight's the last one for about 6 months. As it pertains to the Red Sox, and the question I just asked, I got this a lot during the playoffs, and the playoffs are short, but even in the final weeks of the season, people wanted to talk about it. And so where they are is in a pretty good spot. So just look at it on paper, and I know a lot of you don't necessarily know all the details, like many of us who follow it closely, and I don't even necessarily meet people in the media. Garrett Crochet is 25 years old. He's signed for the long term. He's going nowhere. Brian Bayo's basically 25 years old, signed for the long term. He's going nowhere. Connolly, Early, and Peyton Tolley are going to be under Red Sox control for at least the next 6 seasons. If you believe in those guys, they're coming back. They have other members on the staff who are coming back. If you believe in Patrick Sandoval, Tanner Houck, Cutter Crawford, those guys are all coming back. So the pitching framework looks pretty good. That doesn't mean I love it. It just looks pretty good. You have options there, let alone all the people that Tyler just mentioned, Hunter Dobbins, Richard Fitz, all those guys. And if you want to talk about the bullpen, Chapman is re-signed to 1 more year with an option. Garrett Whitlock is under contract. Justin Slayton can't go anywhere for, I think, 4 or 5 years. I haven't looked him up specifically, but he's got a ways to go yet. So
Greg Weisser, too.
The anchors of your bullpen are signed or under control. The key guys in your pitching staff, with the possible exception of Giolito, who I don't necessarily put in that category. He's gone.
Get him
but you're in good shape there. And in terms of your lineup, Roman Anthony is obviously just a kid. We'll see what happens with Story and Bregman. We can certainly discuss that in terms of them opting out if they elect to do that. But Raphael is here. Abreu is here. I almost said Damon. Duran is here. Casas will be coming back. Campbell, if you believe in him. Marcelo Meyer. Yoshida. Narvaez. The team is largely intact. They are largely intact. The Red Sox still need to add to it. Okay, this team had a pretty good year. I don't want to call it a good year or a great year. They had a pretty good year. I would call it a B plus. Somewhere in that area, the Red Sox should be an A organization. They have that capability. That means being championship contenders more often than not, and it certainly doesn't mean being a 500 team, which they were for 4 years before this one. So they need to make some big moves. They need to fortify the rotation because Brian Bayo might not be a number 2 starter. I think we learned that here down the stretch. And Roman Anthony and whoever else is with him are going to need help in that lineup, even if Bregman and Story come back. So I just wanted to get that part off my chest to add to what you two have already said. So we'll kick it off tonight. George and Malden will play more Cora for you. We will also get to your calls and touch on, you want to go on some of the specifics of the game and the series, certainly we can do that. Wherever you want to go, we're happy to go. George is in Malden. George, what do you got?
Hi. Most of the lineup all year long was made up of utility players. Let's get some stars on this team besides the one who got injured. Plus the fact I would trade away Connor Wong, Duran, and Bayo to get another bat in our lineup that will give some punch to our lineup.
Okay, George, thank you for the call. How many untouchables do you guys have?
Oh, I don't have many untouchables. I mean, obviously Crochet,
Roman,
Anthony. I mean, the real building blocks. But I think what I learned from this
Would you trade Bayo?
So in the right deal, yes, but I'm not rushing out to trade him. I don't want him to be my number 2 starter, though. They need to go out and, I mean, listen, if it takes Brian Bayo to get Joe Ryan and you're not giving up much beyond Bayo in that deal, yeah, I would move Bayo in that deal. There are guys I would move before him. But ideally, Brian Bayo is my number 3 starter going into next year. He can't be a number 2. And what the caller said is right. They cannot platoon their way to a World Series. They've got to get away from this thing. And I do worry about Alex Cora's impact on that. He loves platooning. He was a platoon player himself. They need to be serious about building a real starting 9 where there's only 1, maximum, maybe 2 platoon situations. They've got to address that.
Milliken, if Roman Anthony plays the outfield, Abreu and Duran are also left-handed. They all can't be there at once because none of them are really center fielders. So let's stick with Duran and Abreu because nobody wants to move Roman Anthony. Does one of them have to go?
I'd be willing to move both of them. And I'm not really too scared to do that. I look at Jarren Duran and what he did in left field this year where he was a subpar defender. I was absolutely grossed out by his defense in this series alone, especially after Alex Cora talking to us almost like we're stupid, telling us he needs to play left field because he's this great defender. No, he botched a ball that was hit directly at him that he didn't have to dive for. And that pathetic attempt at that Giancarlo Stanton double where he was jogging to the ball. Are you kidding me? And Jarren Duran this year, OPS against lefties, 600. We're talking platoon players. He's just a platoon player that plays every day. And Jarren Duran had special value to you when you didn't have a lot of guys on your team who could steal 30 bags. He had special value to you when you didn't have a leadoff hitter, and he was able to kind of masquerade as that. Roman Anthony can be your leadoff hitter. You have options. Willie Abreu's still a platoon player overall, and while I give him a little bit more love and a little bit more leeway because he's a Gold Glove right fielder, I think they view Christian Campbell as an outfielder. And if you're going to include Christian Campbell in this conversation, and they were willing to give him that extension, I'd pencil him in potentially to left field, Sedon in center, and then all of a sudden you have Roman in right. And as you're making these deals, because not only if you bring Bregman back, you still need to add another big bat. You need a number 2 starter. If you're only willing to spend on one of those 2 things, those other guys are going to be your chips to get something.
Milliken's right about this real quick, Maz. Duran needs to be the first to go. One of those guys has to go because Anthony, you want to be in the outfield. I'd be willing to move both. Duran is the first one to go, but if there's a deal to be made with Abreu, I think we learned a lot about him down the stretch, not being able to stay healthy, still a platoon player. He can go too, but Duran needs to go first, has to go.
Let me squeeze in one more call here. And Josh in Nashua, I just asked you, try to get to the point. We've got a lot of people who want to get on tonight. Josh, what do you got?
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem, Matt. Sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the Red Sox completely overachieved. I didn't have them going to the playoffs looking at the landscape early on in the season. And obviously, like you said, Maz, you can't have 2 rookies going against each other. Screw the Yankees, but, you can't have a rookie going out there. Improve the starting staff.
Yeah, so, Josh, I'll tell you what. I'm reluctant to tell you that they overachieved. And let me just give you a quick stat. We'll go to break, and then we'll come back, and we'll continue with your calls. The Red Sox, at the end of the day, finished 15 games over 500. And I had this debate with Chris Gasper at the end of Felger and Maz today. The single biggest difference in the team, and frankly, without him, they might have been the same team, is Garrett Crochet. They went 24-9, counting the playoffs, when Garrett Crochet pitched. That's 15 games over. That's where they finished. So without Garrett Crochet, you are still basically an 81 and 81 team. Even with Bregman, even with Giolito and Bayo, even with Chapman, to me, it was almost all about Crochet.
Agreed.
And what did we learn when Pedro Martinez was a similar anchor for the Red Sox in the late 90s? It made them a contender. It didn't make them a championship team. Don't make that mistake with Garrett Crochet. Okay, they need to build around Crochet. Back with more of your calls and more from Alex Cora. He said something else last night that I thought was interesting after the game. We'll play that for you when we come back.
This is the Baseball Hour on the Sports Hub.
You relate to the team, or is it kind of too soon for that? Or
Yeah, that I had a blast this year. You know, just like I said before, pulling for them, grinding with them. Me and my family really enjoyed this season. The last few years have been tough with the up and downs and where we were as an organization, but I think the front office has done an amazing job pushing forward in certain areas, and it was a fun season. It was. Obviously, we should feel the way we feel right now because we had bigger goals, but you know, when we have time to reflect how we did things this year, this is what the Boston Red Sox are. You know, it's a good group. It's a good group. They're really, I mean, they're fun. They're intense when they play. They really like each other. Probably the other 29 teams can say the same thing, right? But I had fun managing this team. It was great.
I want to get right back to your calls. certainly, I know Matt and Tyler want to chime in and banter with you all. I'll just add that that message from Alex Cora was not just for the benefit of his players. That was for the benefit of ownership and management and Craig Breslow, because about halfway through the season, Alex Cora bought in again. Okay, about halfway through. And I don't know what led to it. The trade of Devers, some sort of come to Jesus meeting.
The pitching taking that step from being 20th before June 7th in the league to number 2 in all of baseball after year of not having those arms. I think he saw Craig Breslow's vision happening in front of him and seeing, oh no, this isn't Chaim Bloom. This isn't just taking projects in. He's transformed Lucas Giolito, who has no business putting up number 2, number 3 starter numbers. He's doing it. Brian Bayo, who's a 3 or a 4, is looking like a 2 at times, even more when you looked at his ERA at those points. I think he even couldn't believe it. Aroldis Chapman turning into the best reliever year of his entire career.
Yeah, I got the sense somewhere in the middle of the year that the Red Sox talked to Cora, or someone did. My conspiracy theory is that it was Theo. And that because Theo knew Cora from the time Cora was a player, and they needed someone to get through to Cora because he was clearly undermining the operation, or at least publicly criticizing them and taking his shots for 2 or 3 years. And I think someone said to him, are you with us or you're against us? And I think he got back on board. That's what I think. And I can't prove that, but that's what I feel. Ron in Medford. Go ahead, Ron.
You know, your question was, do you feel good about the path in which they're going? But the off season is going to tell me that. What they do in the off season will dictate as to whether I feel good about the way where they're going. And look, I rooted for them. I wanted them to win, but last night was a circus. I mean, it was an embarrassment. And if this is what we're going to get for the highest cost of a family of 4 to go there, I'm out. I mean, they got to do something.
Yeah, so Ron, their lineup's not good enough, and their rotation's not good enough. They're better, but you know, they're headed in the right direction. I think we can all agree on that. A lot of people came back this year. Would you agree, Matt?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it was a fun season, and you have some reason to buy in. But what they can't do here, guys, you know, think about how good you felt about the Red Sox after 2021. Unexpected run to the ALCS. That team certainly overachieved. And you said they're ahead of schedule, but maybe you can believe in what they're doing. Then they went in the tank for 3 years. They can't do that again. They have to capitalize. This is a put up or shut up moment and a put up or shut up off season for the Red Sox. They have to be aggressive. They need to capitalize on the level of belief that maybe some people are starting to feel around here.
Yeah, they tore themselves down after 2021 because you had the lockout and this weird thing happens with the offseason. All of a sudden, Kyle Schwarber, this piece you brought in that was really kind of building around the team and giving them this personality. They don't retain him. You land Trevor Story, which ends up creating a major problem for the guy who's the leader in your clubhouse, and Xander Bogaerts. Mm-hmm. You can't make a mistake like that again. You need to understand the importance in leadership, and you also need to understand there's no reason to sit here and just sneak over the luxury tax. Go well beyond. This is your window. This is your time. What I'm scared of is they're going to look at the CBA expiring after next year, and this is what happened with the last one. Pockets got very tight with teams because they said, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what this landscape's going to look like. The truth is, you're the Boston Red Sox. Whatever's about to change, and with John Henry being on the committee that pushes for that salary cap, he should be still willing to push because he knows what it's going to look like. He has the power to, shape that landscape in whatever way he wants. So just keep your foot on the gas. Your window's here.
If they are not considered a World Series contender when they show up at camp, I think that's a failure.
Yep.
Nick is in Fall River. Nick, go ahead.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. Usually I try to get on the 2 p.m. show, but I wanted to get on today and talk about
it's okay.
The game yesterday.
Yeah, just get to it, Nick, please.
All right, sorry, I don't want to be long.
That's all right.
Anyway, the long short of it, the starter for the Yankees yesterday, Schlittler, the kid was nasty. He was out there pumping 100. It made me think that Connolly, Early, Peyton, Tolley, I had to pump the brakes on them a bit. It gave me a little bit of a reality check. And, Maz, I just wanted to see if you thought the same thing or if you thought that the Red Sox lineup made the kid look a lot better than he is, and I should pump the brakes on him a little.
Well, look, it's probably a little of both. I would tell you that I believe in his stuff, though. He looks like the real deal. 99 to 100, big kid. Pretty smooth delivery overall, particularly for a guy that throws that hard. Do you believe in him?
Yes, I do. And I believe in Tolley, and I believe in Early to a certain extent, too. But what I think this proves here, Maz, is you need to go out and be aggressive and capitalize. One of Early or Tolley needs to go for Joe Ryan this offseason. Like, you need to cash in one of those chips. Sometimes you have to give up something to get something, and I think the Red Sox have something here. I think the Yankees have something here. It's time for a bit of an arms race. Let's go. It's go time.
100%. And I think you start to look at the arms here, and, we
can... But stick with Schlittler just for a moment.
Yeah, he wasn't even a top 100 prospect. Like, this is truly what the Yankees have been good at for a couple of years now. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, who went in the Carlos Narvaez deal, he was here. He wasn't even a top 10 prospect. He led the minor leagues in strikeouts for the Yankees this year. And I still love the Carlos Narvaez deal, but they have a great pitching pipeline. They're able to get the most out of these guys. But if you're the Red Sox right now, Luis Perales, as I mentioned before. Kyson Witherspoon, your first-round pick that a lot of people didn't think was going to fall to you. Look at how we talk about Peyton Tolley right now. Witherspoon could have that same kind of meteoric rise, at least with their ability to identify starting pitching. So I think we could have those same arms coming through. And, even Tolley was drafted a year ago. You know what I mean? He'd even debut for the first time until this year. You got to go back 3 years to see what happened with Cam and, all that different stuff.
Do the Yankees have a better pitching prospect than you do?
At the very top of their system right now.
I'm talking about Schlittler.
Would I put him ahead of what you have right now? No, I think Tolley will ultimately be better than him.
I would. I think he's better than Tolley. Cooper's in a car. Cooper, what do you got?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Love the show. The season obviously was it was great, but the last night was definitely a letdown, and it just shows, you just don't have someone in the lineup that a pitcher needs to be scared of. I know you were missing Anthony, and Bregman wasn't the same after the injury, but there was nobody that I was like, okay, at least we have this guy coming up. We need some power bats this offseason, and like you said, some front-end starting of the rotation pitching. Was just blaring in the last two games.
Yeah, so Cooper, it's easy to come to that conclusion. I'll just say this quickly before we go to headlines with McCarthy here. I get that right, Matt?
Nailed
It's easy to look at their lineup and say, oh, my God, that was an embarrassment. Okay, well, Bregman's hurt. Anthony's out. So, yes, the lineup they had last night is not a championship caliber lineup. It's not anything close. So they need to fix that. And, this is part of the reason I personally would like Bregman back. But if you get one more big bat to go with Bregman and Anthony, and Bregman stays healthy, and that's no guarantee, I think you're close. I mean, you're close.
If you had Rafael Devers on this team and you had slightly better pitching, I think most people would say they're the best team in the American League right now. And I don't think that's a crazy thing.
Go ahead.
I also want to add this on the Tolley and Cam Schlittler conversation. Cam Schlittler is 24 right now. He just got to the big leagues this year. He's been in the minors since 2022. Peyton Tolley's 22 right now, and he got his way to the majors this year. Was it a bit accelerated? Yes. But we're talking 2 more years of him developing his secondaries and from the left side. That's why I sit there, and it's hard, I think, when you compare those two. And I think there's a very similar place they both could get to. 2 more years of development under Andrew Bailey. I think it could look like that. I don't think that's that far off for him. And I do think part of it is the Red Sox lineup without Roman Anthony and Rafael Devers.
McCarthy's got your headlines. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue with your calls on the final baseball hour of the 2025 season.
Sports Hub headlines. Present.
Bregman down the line. That's a fair ball off the wall. He'll head to second. He will be in there with the double and insurance from Trevor Story. It's 3-1 Red Sox. Alex Bregman does it again to the Yankees.
Alex Bregman faded in the second half, but had one of the Red Sox' few big hits in this series. Wasn't the biggest, but one of them. And Chris Cotillo of Mass Live tweeted today, one of my big takes heading into this winter is that the Red Sox might be more willing to let Bregman walk than everyone thinks. There were concerns about the aging curve and health there. Have to weigh that against leadership intangibles, his ceiling. Remember, split camp last winter. What does that mean?
That's talking about how Breslow did not want him. Kennedy and Cora did want him. The reporting they had at the winter meetings.
Now, I'll just add that that someone on Twitter asked Cotillo who his sources were, and he said, no sources. I was eating lunch and saw a tweet from Ian Brown pop up about Bregman, and I thought, I bet his return isn't as much of a fait accompli as people think, and I tweeted it. People are bored today. So let me get back to the calls, but before I do, I'll just ask you guys, should they want Bregman back, Tyler?
Yes. Simply for the leadership. I think if you made such a point that you had to move Rafael Devers because you didn't believe he could lead these young guys and help them grow, it's just as much reason why Alex Bregman should be here.
Yes. I would happily overpay $40 million for him next year. It gets complicated if he opts out because I'd be very, very wary of giving him a 5 or a 6 year deal. I'm not convinced he gets that, though. I actually don't think he opts out. I think the Red Sox play some hardball, and ultimately he comes back on the current contract he has, which is the best case scenario.
I don't think he was the same player after the leg injury. I do want him back as well, if for no other reason. Look, you guys have touched on some of the other stuff, but you have enough holes. You don't need another one. Matt's in a car. Matt, what do you got?
Hey, Tony, thanks for taking my call. Before I get to my point, I know you had the summer, Maz, but just want to say thank you for nobody wants to work late, but especially nobody wants to work late in the summer, so that doesn't go unappreciated.
That's why he doesn't.
It's not, Matt, yeah, right, exactly. I appreciate it. What do you got?
So I want to pick your brain. I want to know if you would do. I know it's different circumstances with Price when they went out and got Sale, but would you booster behind Crochet, right, and make that your main option, or would you pivot and go for a power hitting first baseman and like another bullpen arm?
The answer is both. I want the bat and the pitcher.
I'm right there with you. Dylan Cease, Michael King, if you hear me right now, I want one of y'all. I'm telling you, that simple. Bring me one of them. Dylan Cease, they've already went after him. That was already a thing they checked in during the offseason. They checked in during the regular season at the trade deadline with those Duran packages. Yes, the ERAs and the 4s, I understand. If you look underneath the hood, the FIP, the K per 9, the K percentage, all the things they love, he is exactly his type. And I do think if you need to trade assets, you're probably doing it for a bat or a pitcher. Just pick which one you want to go after. If you want to go after Joe Ryan and go pay Bo Bichette or Pete Alonso, pick your poison, that's one path. But you got to pick which way you want to go and do it quickly.
I think the Ryan thing happened. Sorry, go ahead, Maz.
No, I was going to say they need both. They need a hit or two.
They definitely need both. I'm pretty convinced the Ryan thing happens this offseason. I'm not so convinced they spend the money on the bat. Alonso's a perfect fit for what they need. I'm not convinced they get involved, though.
Phil's on 95 North. Phil, what do you got?
How you doing? I was just calling about how refreshing it was watching start and pitching going deep into games, and how pretty much in game 1 and game 3, every pitch was a must-see pitch, and just watching pitchers navigate through lineups. It reminded me of how it used to be, and I just think baseball is sometimes missing that type of baseball, about that type of playing.
Yeah, Phil, look, these guys are the primary name on the marquee. So it's a bad thing for baseball when starters are getting pulled in the 5th inning, like Blake Snell, 6th inning, like Blake Snell was a couple of years ago in the World Series. Was that the COVID year?
Yes.
I think that was. It was the COVID World Series. It hurts the game. It hurts the game. One of the first things you ask when there's a good game on, who are the starting pitchers? So game 1, Max Fried, Garrett Crochet. They both went into the 7th, and Crochet went into the 8th. It made all the difference. John and Taunton. John, go ahead.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Really, you guys have been nailing everything. I mean, they absolutely need to keep Bregman. I think the leadership's, like, the intangibles, just, you need him. he's created a backbone in that clubhouse. Besides that, I mean, going out, solidifying this team with everyday players has to be a must. And this has to be a shout out to John Henry, to Sam Kennedy, to the front office as a whole. They got to get more everyday players. They got to make sure that they're really fortifying this team because they have a great opportunity. And Garrett Crochet really.
Hey, John, I'm going to stop you there just because I don't want to bounce into too many areas. I got a lot of people on the line. So the window's open now. Okay, the window's open. They should be thinking championship now, what the next step is, and they have the money to do it. And they have some of the minor leaguers to make deals. Go ahead,
yeah,
Micah.
and you got 3 platoon spots in your lineup if you want to kind of put it together right now. It's right field with Wilyer Abreu, where they play Rob Refsnyder from time to time. You can go to first base, where Tristan Casas and Romy Gonzalez. And then second base, or shortstop, however you want to frame it. Marcelo Meyer did not hit lefties in the minors. They're certainly not going to trust him to face lefties early on next year. And then figuring out DH as well, where if it's Masataka Yoshida again, they also don't really like him facing lefties. Even though he looked a lot better over those last couple weeks, I think in their ideal world, he's not here at the start of next year.
They got to fix the right side of that infield, like permanent solutions on the right side.
Matt in a truck, what do you got?
Hey guys, thanks for the call. McCarthy, just 100% agree with you. They got to keep ownership's feet to the fire. And you said it, Alonso, first base, righty power bat solves one major need there. And another you mentioned, send Duran to San Diego for some of the pitching they got out there. Just wanted your thoughts on that, guys. Thanks.
Jarren Duran has to go, guys. I mean, I don't know how you watch this series and say that Duran should be on this team next year. He's a problem. He's not a winning baseball player. And here's an example of I think it's a real second guess. Duran was worth so much more last offseason. I think a lot of us who looked at Duran critically,
they whiffed,
could have seen something like this coming. He's just not a consistent baseball player. He's a platoon player. He obviously was not in a great headspace in this series because he was not locked in, not chasing after balls. Obviously, an error where it feels like he just lost focus, couldn't track the fly ball, you name it, swinging at the pitch above his shoulders against Fried in game 1. Like, that's just not a guy you can build around. He's got to go. He has to go.
John in the car, another Duran call. John, what do you got?
Remember, get Greenwell out of here, Tony?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Get Duran out of here. Enough. He's like a giant German shepherd that's out of control. He's all over the place. He's so fast that he doesn't know how to control his own speed. Get him out of here. And sell high on Gonzalez, sell high on Refsnyder. Don't get bit in the ass like you did this year with Duran. Get Joe Ryan and get Bo Bichette as the bat to back up Anthony.
Okay, so John, just my 2 cents. There's nothing wrong with Romy Gonzalez and Rob Refsnyder. In a bench role, they're perfectly good bench players. They can hit left-handed pitching. They can play a couple of different positions, although Refsnyder's really a corner outfielder.
And Refsnyder's a free agent next year. So now
after next year, you mean?
No, in 2026, he's a free agent.
Okay.
So he's not on the team right now.
Okay.
You're going to have to figure out whatever that situation is, and maybe that makes them more willing to make a push. He's a big part of their clubhouse. And especially if Bregman leaves, maybe they become a little more connected to him. Romy Gonzalez, I think he is the kind of guy I would go and call on, just simply for the fact he hit righties in the second half. It was a 300 batting average from July on. Not much power, but he was putting the ball in play. Can play second and first. I think you see the athleticism really come down the more he's out there. He doesn't wear the everyday duties very well. But at the same time, second base and first base are two things that aren't solidified. And when you have a guy who can at least mash against lefties and was top 15 in terms of OPS against them, you're going to cling to that a bit.
I like both players for what they bring, but to me, you can't have 2 platoon guys. You got to have one. Pick one. Stick with one.
Well, even the Yankees, though, right? Ben Rice and Jazz Chisholm were platooned. But Aaron Boone in that last game completely flipped his logic from game 1 and had both of them starting against Connolly early.
Yeah, so look, again, the reason I say I'm okay with Refsnyder and Gonzalez is they're going to play 30% of the time if your team is built right. So if you want to keep them on your bench to play 30% of the time, that I'm fine with. Danny in San Diego. Go ahead, Danny.
Hey, boys, real quick. Lifelong Sox fan. I cannot stand San Diego sports radio. They're like Lays and the Padres. I'm so tired of it. Can't wait to get back on to Boston in a few months. Anyways, Craig needs to be in the calling AJ Preller right now. I think both teams can benefit from each other. Duran, he just depleted his prospects in that entire organization. We have a ton of them. Send him his way. Send him Mayer who's from San Diego. Send him Christian Campbell. I don't care. looking at right-handed bats, Tatis, they're moving past Tatis.
Danny, I'm going to let you go. Is there a move to be made with San Diego?
I don't think so. I think that move would have been the deadline when they were talking over Dylan Cease. The fact that him and Michael King are going, I don't see them moving Fernando Tatis as Manny Machado gets older either.
What about the young catcher?
Salas?
Yeah, Ethan Salas. My issue is he really hasn't been anything close to what he was from 2 years ago. The guy who went all the way up to high A and double A and was making this noise, he had a stress fracture in his back and he hasn't hit since the lower minors. I'm out.
My concern would be you maybe missed out on the chance to capitalize on what the Padres would have given you last offseason or maybe this summer for Duran. His value is nowhere near what it once was.
Boy, Duran's value has taken a major hit, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and not just in the eyes of the league, because again, a year ago would have been the time to move him. I felt that at the time. But in the eyes of the fan base here, people want to get rid of him. Hold your thoughts. Couple more of you on the line. We'll get back to you when we come back on the Baseball Hour, so don't hang up. Again, we got 10 minutes to go. 5 when we come back on the final edition of the Baseball Hour in 2025.
You're listening to the Baseball Hour with Tony Mann.
I just simply believe that if the Red Sox want, if the front office wants to get to the next level, they're actually the ones that have to step up to the plate in terms of spending. So getting somebody like...
I can't understand him. What did he say?
The front office needs to spend.
Okay. I think we all agree on that. I couldn't make it out. I don't know if it's because he was like calling to a computer.
Yeah,
or
it
something.
sounds like a generated voice or something
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, really. It was weird. I'm not picking on the guy. I'm just saying I couldn't understand you. I couldn't hear you. And if I can't hear you, I don't know if the listeners can make it out. But yes, the front office needs to stay aggressive. And I say stay because they were more aggressive last offseason than they had been. But, even more aggressive now. You're getting closer. This is not the time to back off.
And you look at it this year, they were $7 million above the luxury tax. Going into 2026 right now, it's $223. So they have it's going to jump up another $3 million to $244. You have about $21 million before you go over the luxury tax. You should be pushed well beyond it. I want to see you $30 or $40 million above it.
They should be. Jeff's in Rhode Island. Jeff, go ahead.
What's going on, Tony? I'm going to play Mr. Sunshine for a minute here. As much as last night and the last couple of days sucked, this was such an incredible Red Sox season. You can't help. You can do the post-mortem all winter, but that was one hell of a year for the Red Sox. They got a bright future, and I'm very excited. Ownership needs to retool. And lastly, thank you guys for an incredible show this year.
Okay, Jeff, thanks for the call. I don't know if I would call it like what was the word he used?
Incredible.
It wasn't incredible, but it was good. It was a real season. It gave you a real season for the first time in 4 years. And I said to you guys a minute ago, we just had a full call screen. That, to me, is their biggest win of the year.
No doubt.
People came back. Some people came back. Not all of them, but some came back. And there were many nights where I thought this is going to be tough. And then all of a sudden, the Red Sox won 10 in a row in the middle of the year, and it really caught fire at that point.
Yeah, you gave the fans a reason to believe and a reason to buy into something and a reason to remember why you're a Red Sox fan and why you love this team and why you love this sport. Because not only had the sport chased people away for 10 years, the Red Sox chased people away really for the better majority of the last 5 to 6. I understand the trepidation. I have a level of trepidation too. How committed to this thing are they really going to be? I can't go through 2022 to 2024 again. You can't do it. You have to build on this thing. But I'm going to tell you right now, this season reminded me why I love the Red Sox, why I love baseball, and why I love doing this. And I hadn't quite felt that way from 22 to 24 because they asked a lot of you. They asked too much of you. They asked you to watch a team that was 500 and an organization that was not fully committed to it. They showed you some signs this year that they're more committed to it than in years past, but you have to carry that through this offseason. Maz, I think you summed it up beautifully. We need to come in here on the Baseball Hour first day next year and say, on paper, this team is capable of winning the pennant and contending for a World Series title. Anything less than that is a disappointment and a failure.
That should be the goal. Tyler, hold the thought. Intern Luke, whoever that is in New York. Go ahead, Luke. Do I know you?
Yeah, hey guys, how we doing? I was an intern for the Joe Show over the summer.
Oh, all right, good. Okay, what do you got?
Ithaca, New York. How about that?
That's right. So, real quick, I just wanted to say, first off, you guys do a great job. Shout out to you guys. But I don't know about you guys. I've been pretty down in the dumps all day. I can't believe that it's gone the full hour and nobody said Kyle Hudson's name. I mean, there were too many games, too many moments down the stretch, August, September, and now into October, when the third base coach and the outfield coach should not be costing this team this many games. And when you notice the third base coach and the outfield coach, it's never for anything good. So I wanted to say that about Kyle Hudson. I think in the offseason they have to go get Joe Ryan. I would love Michael King. I'm not sure he opts out. And one of Schwarber or Pete Alonso. So I don't want to take up too much time, but those are my thoughts on the Sox right now.
Okay, Milliken, should they change third base coaches?
I'd heavily consider it at this point in time. And I think when you talk Jarren Duran, Kyle Hudson and him have the closest relationship. Kyle Hudson was kind of seen as the guru that got him to be an elite center fielder a year ago. At this point in time, Jarren Duran is a poor defensive left fielder. And I agree with everything he's saying, whether it was that Nate Eaton moment against the Orioles, whether it was Romy Gonzalez being sent home against the Rays, and then Alex Bregman getting held on to, then what just happened, and the communication issues. It's been between Rafaela and Duran, now Rafaela and Abreu. Yep. That's very weird. They've changed a lot of third base coaches in recent years. I would guess they don't, but I do think it should be considered.
They should, because it's an easy way to send a message to the fan base that we're going to be accountable this offseason. In the end, it doesn't matter who your third base coach is. That's an easy one. You fire him. It's one of the first things you do this offseason, and then that sends a small little message to the fan base that, you know what, we are going for it. It's easy, guys. You do it.
I'll tell you what, I'd consider flip-flopping the two.
Yeah, Flores.
Yeah, I'd consider putting Flores, or if Cora wants to stand by Hudson and be loyal to him, let him be the first base coach. Which that's a less important job.
Cora didn't shy away from making it, clear. When Carlos Feblis was fired, he was angry. That bothered him. That upset him when it came from up above him. I do wonder if they're willing to kind of rock that boat a little bit, and it may be for what's best. But to that point earlier, what you guys were talking about, fans coming back, they had 7 sellouts at home in 2024. They went into the final weekend this year with 31.
Okay, look.
I think that right there, make this year 2016. Don't make it 2022 coming up. That's what you need to do. Or, 2021 going into 2022. You should be building into a golden era of Red Sox baseball.
I mean, there's no question they can't. If the Red Sox sit on their hands, shame on them, and they'll lose people right back. Last question. I'm going to say this quickly and give me a short answer. The 2025 offseason will be a success if what?
They sign Dylan Cease and go and get a power bat to match with Bregman and Roman Anthony.
If they get a number 2 starter and not one, but 2 middle-of-the-order bats, one of whom plays first base.
Okay, there you go. I want to just thank those of you who called and listened throughout the baseball season. Believe me when I tell you, we are all happy about the way this year went, all things considered. And when I say that, I mean many of you came back. You came back to the show, and beyond that, really, you came back because the team gave you enough to sink your teeth into and to lure you back. So let's hope that it's a similar kind of year next year. McCarthy's got your headlines, and then he has you for the balance of the night, right?
That's right.
So you're filling in for Joe Murray?
More Red Sox talk coming your way. I see on the lines. We'll take care of you. We're going to be breaking this all down for the majority of the night.
Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you in the spring.
From the Telfair Tire Studios, WBC FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans.